So let's get kicked off. So great. So welcome to the very first online meeting for Navan Cycling Initiative. We might do some quick introductions just of the Navan Cycling Initiative folks. I don't think we're going to have time for everyone to do introductions, but we might get to that at the Q&A at the end. So my name is Dave Anderson. I'm the Secretary of Navan Cycling Initiative. We also have Kevin Cargan here. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. So as you can see, I'm Kevin and I'm the chairperson of Navan Cycling Initiative. Good evening, nice to see you all.
And Ed?
Yeah, I'm Ed Moynihan, Vice Chairperson of Navan Cycling Initiative. Yeah, it's great to see you all here, yeah.
And Donald?
I'm Donald America. I'm Treasurer of Navan Cycling Initiative. I'm probably the grandfather of this group.
Godfather.
No horses in the bed, though. No horse heads.
Excellent.
Not yet.
Great. So just the running order, I suppose, is we've got a few slides to give you some updates. So here we go. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, here we go. So this is the running order. We're just going to give you a few bits and pieces of news, and then have a Q&A for everyone to jump in. And you are very free to pour your own drinks. We weren't able to get that working. So let's kick off, I suppose, and talk about Meath County Council and the Active Travel Office. So it's over to you, Kevin, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to bring up the points there, Dave. So basically, this was something that we were anticipating since January, really, which was the establishment of an active travel office in Meath County Council. So there was travel funding announced in January. And then a couple of weeks ago, we got word that basically that funding had trickled down and that 12 new posts were going to be created, active travel positions within Meath County Council. And kind of good news from our point of view is that they were going to be grouped together in this creation of an active travel office. So that's, from our point of view, that's really, really positive. We've had a meeting with the active travel. I suppose the leader, I'm not sure what her official title, it's Lara Fagan. So we had a meeting with herself, Paul O'Brien, and a few other members or future members, because it's not actually established yet. It's going to be, I think it's mid-June, they said they're actually going to be up and running. So we just it was a little bit of a meet and greet. They're very positive about what we've been doing. They're keen to engage with us. We're very keen to engage with them because this is I suppose, it's putting active travel on a very, formal footing within Meath County Council, which can only be good news from our point of view. So yeah, it's a really exciting development overall. So we'll keep you posted in terms of what we managed to achieve with this group going forward. So it's good news.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kevin. So now up to Ed. You're going to give us an update on this.
Yeah, so this is the 5-year plan update. As Kevin was saying there, we have been meeting with Meath County Council regularly the last few months just to get updates and things. And one of the things they share with us is a 5-year plan, which you can see on the map there. There's a rough kind of layout of things that are happening basically in Navan or around Navan. So the first one is the main one, the At Lumley to Trim Road Cycle and Pedestrian Scheme, which is an ongoing scheme. I think it was first announced in 2018. Takes in the Trim Road up to the Solstice Roundabout, down to the new bridge and across the Convent Road. So there's currently plans in that to under detailed design plans for it. There's a few snags that they've hit, like with the upgrading of the rail crossing and things like that. And work was meant to start in it this year, but I think it might have been delayed, with COVID and things. So hopefully it will start early next year, maybe. The second thing then on the list is the Circular Road to Swan Lane, which is the R147, the Dublin Road. and this will be done under Section 38 of the Road Traffic Act. So we're hopeful that construction could start on this later this year, which will be great. You know, to get that done. Just to say what Section 38 is, it's just like it can change. Section 38 can change existing roads boundaries. So you don't need, if you don't need to widen the road or you don't need to do any major restructuring work, it can all be done with Section 38. So there's no consultation required. You only need a council's approval. It can be done in a few weeks, you know, depending on the size of the project. A lot of the cycle lanes in Dublin, which we've seen, and other places around Ireland, they've, you know, been done in a few weeks. They're all done under Section 38 of the Road Traffic Act. So, you know, it'd be great to see more of them happening in Meath and around Navan to get them done, especially in that R147 to get it connect, you know, Johnstown and places into the centre of Navan. It'd be a key cycle lane, you know. And then finally, as part of the 5-year plan, there's preliminary design work started on the other places like Convent Road at Lumley Castle, the Kenstown Road, which that's part of the Trim Road at Lumley scheme as well. Then there's the R147 to Poolboy Bridge to Woody's Roundabout, which is the red line there. That will connect to the new local distributor road, which is going across by Blackwater Park, you know, and up to Ratfolden Road. But obviously, that'll be a few years away before that new road with the new bridge is built. And the third one is a new bridge to Poolboy Bridge to Flower Hill up to the Round O, the blue line, all the way up to Proudstown Road. So that's another scheme that's coming down the line. There's preliminary design work started in those 3 or 4 different routes there. So, you know, we'd hope to see them progressed as soon as we can. Yeah, that's it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ed. And I think you're up again actually on the Greenways update.
Yeah, I better be careful in this one now. We could ramble all day in the Greenways.
Sorry, Ed, can I just come in? Can I just ask as well if anyone has any questions or observations, if they just pop them in the chat as well, and we'll come to those at the end.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, pop them in the chat. Yeah, good idea. So on the Greenways, yeah, the Boyne Greenway is obviously the main one there. Public consultation 1 was completed in March, and stage 2, the detailed options assessment, should be due soon enough. Not sure when exactly, the next 1 or a few months. That identifies the emerging preferred route, which is the crucial part really in, you know, nailing down the preferred route for the council to engage with the local landowners, and hopefully there's no big objections to the preferred route, like, because then, you know, that has the ability to kind of hold up the process then, and hold up the, you know, getting it done. So the next thing is also the Boyne Greenway, yeah, Fáilte Ireland recently launched their new ancient destination plan. It's basically a new plan for, you know, the Boyne Valley region, like a new plan for that for tourism and marketing. And as part of that, it was great to see that the big feature was the Boyne Greenway. They were kind of realizing how big, you know, and crucial the Boyne Greenway can be to the region, making it, you know, a big tourist destination, attracting cyclists from all over Europe. And, you know, so it's just great to see that it's been recognized as that. So hopefully we see it happening soon. The second Greenway is the Boyne Valley to Lakelands Greenway. There's already 2 sections complete up in Nobber and Castletown, about 1.5 kilometres each. And funding has been acquired it's been secured, I think, to connect those 2 sections. And then at the Navan end, there's work started down on the starting point on Ratfolden Road. There's work started down there. Tara Mines are doing some work down there first of all, and then, yeah, they'll start on the starting point there. You know, we hope to see that. It was said by late summer. I don't know, is that still on schedule? I think one thing with Meath County Council is they're not always on schedule. Things can fall behind, which is fair enough, I suppose. It can happen. But it would be great to see that happening late summer 21, or, you know, late this year. And as part of it, there's a new cycle track going from the Greenway down to Ratfolden Road, down to Clonmageddon Road to join up with the park. And then funding has been submitted for the final two sections, Wilkinstown to Castletown and Nobber to Kingscourt. So that'll be a 30-kilometre greenway in the Boyne Valley to Lakelands County. So we'll be very lucky if we get these two greenways up and running. When we do, we'll have two greenways in Navan, which will be brilliant. And the last one there is the Royal Canal Greenway in County Meath, which I'm sure everyone knows by now. There's 22 kilometres in County Meath with access points in Enfield, Longwood and the Hill of Down. And there's long-term plans then to connect the Boyne Greenway from Navan to Trim, and then from Trim to Longwood to connect up with the Royal Canal Greenway. So it'd be brilliant if they're all connected up, hopefully in a few years' time.
I wouldn't just be booking your staycation based on, being able to cycle from here to the Royal Canal anytime soon.
Yeah, it'd be a bit far off-road, on-road.
On-road, yeah.
Yeah. It's getting there. You can see on the Proudstown Road at the old railway tracks there, they're moving things along, which is great. Okay, we'll move on. So we're up with Donald to talk about our family cycle event that's planned.
Yeah, we intend to run a family cycle event on Sunday, the 20th of June. Normally this would be Bike Week, but unfortunately that has been pushed back into September again this year. Since the 7th of June, Sport Ireland and Cycling Ireland are allowing events basically with up to 100 participants. So we're basically following the same rule book that we had to follow last September. You can click that video, let it play in the background if you like, it's mute. So basically we're limited to 100 people, including marshals and organisers and whatever. People will be asked to have a mask with them so that if they get a puncture or something and have to interact with a marshal or a helper, they have a mask. We'll provide sanitizer at the registration. And of course, the whole 2 meters thing applies to any congregation of people. We'll have contactless registration like we had last year. So there'll be no paper involved, no handing over of pieces of paper or pens. Everybody will be asked to sign online a COVID participation declaration, which is basically saying that you haven't been diagnosed as having COVID, you don't have the symptoms, you haven't been abroad for 14 days, that type of thing. One change from last September, and it's a pity, there's to be no presentation or raffle ceremony at the finish. It's a question of you finish up and you go to your car and you go home, or you cycle.
Ice cream, Donald, no?
No congregation, nothing, no organized food stop, anything like that. So, the biggie is that there should be no congregation of people. That looked like, there was our little raffle last year, all the goodies that we got from suppliers and so on. Be no goodies this year. There's Kevin. And about Yemi in the background. She's been a tremendous support to us actually in dealing with the council. I don't know where she gets her energy from. She's a slave driver, in fact. With my grandson on his little bike.
Yeah, we got great weather that day.
Yeah, we were lucky, yeah. Although in hindsight, it was a mistake actually using the Fair Green as an event centre because it was too busy and too cluttered. Next slide, please, there.
Yeah, it's a car park. Yeah, it wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else to add there, Donald?
Yeah, okay, keep going.
No.
Yeah, that's it, sir. Hold on. I actually, okay, one thing. We're not in a position to tell you what the route is yet, unfortunately. because there are a number of permissions that we have to get sorted out, and we hope to get them sorted out within the next week or so. Last September, we had a 4-kilometer route length, and that was right for a lot of people, but it wasn't challenging enough for others. So this year, our preferred route will be 6.5 kilometers long, with the option of cutting it off at 4 kilometer for, shall we say, people with shorter legs. But as I say, we haven't got our ducks in a row there yet. One thing, we will be recruiting experienced cyclists as marshals, so volunteers are most welcome. And one lesson we learned last year was that you can't look after your own young child and marshal the event, right? So we will be asking competent adult cyclists who don't have a 6 or a 7 or an 8-year-old hanging out. I think if you have a 10 or a 12-year-old, that's probably fine. They can look after themselves. But anyway, if we don't get volunteers, we go headhunting. The British Navy 200 years ago had an excellent press ganging system, and we may have to use that.
We'll have guards as well. Like, we had guards.
Oh yeah, we'll have the Gardaí as well, and we've a bit more lead time this time. So hopefully, unless there's an armed robbery in process or something like that, we'll have a squad car available to us. But anyway, as I say, the ducks are not in a row yet, but we're close to it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, a little bit of work left to do on the planning on that. So I guess we'll push the out through to the subscriber mailing list as soon as there are updates.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's some more general news and bits and pieces. So I'm just going to say we've done a whole bunch of work over the last few months on various consultations that come out from the council and from various other places. So we've made a bunch of submissions. There's the N51 Park and Ride scheme that's up on the N51 there near St. Pat's, which we put in quite a while ago. The Meath Road Safety Plan, we put in a submission for that. The Boyne Greenway route options, so they're looking at the routes from the ramparts through Slane to connect up with the Greenway at Drogheda, and there's various options there. So we've given a submission for that. There's a more general call around the country for 30 km/h speed limits to be the default. So right now, what you have to do is you have to ask for your area to be 30 km/h, but by default, they're not. So we're really just calling for that to be the default, and that makes roads just an awful lot more safe, especially for more vulnerable road users. And then we also submitted a consultation for the N2 Rath to Kilmoon, which just pokes into the end of Meath, really. But it's nearby, so that's where they're going to bypass some of the existing junctions and then put in some cycle lanes on what will be the N2 will become more like a greenway. So that's pretty much it on consultations and submissions, and we keep our eyes open for any new ones that come up and get published on the Meath.ie site.
Just to say, Dave, I think there's one, the county development plan is coming next week, isn't it? That would be a big one. That would be open for submissions again soon. And there's also one for Slane, like a development plan or something like that. Because it plays a part with the Greenway as well. Just to kind of keep an eye out and kind of say to, whenever you see submissions, just to support them, or encourage cycling lanes in them and cycling facilities. You want to see them included,
Yeah, absolutely. There's the Meath County Development Plan is actually at a pretty late stage now. And I think they've had so many submissions, and then they're sort of progressively closing it off. So I think they allow comments on the most recent comments, but I don't think you can fundamentally go in and ask for something new at this stage.
All right, yeah.
Just generally on submissions as well, we've kind of learned, having started this whole kind of initiative, that cycling schemes and pedestrian schemes tend, not always, but they can get a lot of negative feedback when a scheme is put forward. It tends to, people are up in arms, especially if it's going to have personal impact, whereas what we've learned is they don't tend to be that well supported by the wider community, even though they probably are. But even if you don't have anything to say that you might change, even just a letter or a quick email to say that you support the proposal, that's really beneficial as well, just in general, so that's just something else to note.
Yeah, and we've seen it in the Ratoath Cycle Network. There was hundreds of submissions against that because it involved with knocking down of 15 trees or something on one avenue. We're not against knocking down trees. We're not calling for that, but it does play a part in the overall scheme of things. But I think it's coming back again for submission again, Ratoath scheme, and I think they're just omitting that section that has the trees on it. But it just goes to show that, if there's something negative, there's hundreds of objections to it. Like we've seen with the Convent Road thing a few years ago, the walls at Lumley Castle. But if you do support something, do just generally say, we support it, and it'd be great to see it happening, to let people know,
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'll move on. So cycling without age, that's Kevin, that's yourself.
Yeah, so this is something that we've kind of recently started looking at. I suppose the picture kind of speaks for itself, really. Basically, it's kind of an initiative that started, I think it started in Denmark in 2012. It's kind of a worldwide movement at the moment. And essentially what it's doing is it's enabling older people who maybe have reduced mobility to get on a bike and have that experience of either being back on a bike or just being on a bike for the first time. So essentially how it works is that community groups or nursing homes or county councils essentially push this kind of scheme forward in their local area. They're known as chapters, and there's currently 31 of them in Ireland. What we're looking to do at the moment is to establish a chapter in Navan, which there's various elements involved in that. The primary one being getting the funding, really, because believe it or not, they're known as trial bike taxis. They're not cheap. I think they come in, including VAT, shipped from Denmark, they come in around 12,000, including all accessories. So it's an electric trishaw, basically. So I suppose that's the first hurdle to overcome, is trying to get the funding for it. And we've applied for funding from the LEADER program, which is a funding program that's open to all county councils. So we've been approved for eligibility to apply, essentially. So that's the first hurdle. So that's good news. The next step is to actually make the full application, and hopefully we'll see funding being allocated. Even if it doesn't happen this year, it's one of those things that it might take a couple of goes at it to get it over the line, because it's quite a lot of money. But once up and running, essentially, what we'd be doing is we'd be, creating some sort of system where, people from the community or nursing homes could book a slot, and then, pilot volunteers, or people who are going to volunteer to actually to ride the trishaw would then, essentially meet them at an agreed time and agreed location and take them for a little spin of however long, depending on volunteers, depending on their availability. And so it's worked really well. We've been in touch with a group in Drogheda, and they've kind of given us some ideas about it as well. So it's really, really positive. We've actually had Dalgan Park have been in touch. They've been inquiring about maybe getting on board. So there's a few kind of avenues, but it's right at the very early stages now. But if anyone was interested in potentially, given an hour or two of free time, if if we get it over the line to volunteer to be a pilot, that would be amazing. And if anyone has a big shed out in their backyard that you don't need with electricity, that would also be that would be generous. I'm looking at your home office there, Ed. It's got Trishaw written all over it.
Yeah, don't know about that.
Yeah, so that's it. So yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, we're hopeful that we'll see some progress over the next couple of months.
I got a great response on Facebook. Media Chronicle done a story, didn't it? And
yeah, very, very positive response. Especially, I think, given coming out of COVID, and I suppose what residents of nursing homes have been through over the last year. I think it's it's a good news story, and it's something that we kind of feel passionate about, and it'd be great to actually see these trishaws moving about the town. I think it'd be a really, really good. I think be a positive way to kind of to show the community that we support people. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So we'll move on. Okay, this is me. So I'm giving an update on two of our plans on parklets and accelerated cycle lanes. So the first piece is about parklets, which are these tiny little parks that go. They fit into a parking bay or two parking bays together. And as you can see, there's a whole range of different styles and flavors that you can have with planters and whatnot. We're absolutely delighted that the council has approved 5 of these to go in. Again, Councillor Yemi Adenuga was absolutely key to pushing that through, bringing the Meath business community on board and all of the businesses together. So it's a shame that she's not here tonight, but she did an absolutely fantastic job. And we've also met with the engineers who are really trying to get these ready for when outdoor dining comes on board. So that means really that they're going to do whatever's possible to get it in by June. So it may not be the world's most fancy parklet in the world, but it'll be there and ready to use. And then they could always do a version 2, maybe with something better later on. So we should be seeing those, I suppose, in the next few weeks. And then the second part is to accelerate the delivery of that 5-year plan on a couple of routes. So we've seen in Dublin that it's very possible to put temporary cycle lanes in very, very quickly. You'll see in Dunleary Rathdown, they were able to put some cycle lanes in from concept to actually fully working in about 8 weeks. So it really is possible to get these things in very, very quickly. So we're pushing for 2 particular routes. First one to connect Blackwater Park with the rest of the cycle network, such as it is. And so then people can hopefully get to and from the park. Because if you've been to Blackwater Park, you'll see the car park is basically full of cars. So it's to get that route in there. And of course, there's a school there as well. And then also on the Dublin Road, to get the town centre linking up with the Johnstown cycle paths. So that would really connect up Johnstown with the rest of the network. So we saw those as being 2 fairly key links to connect everything together. And also they look like they could be done fairly quickly as well. So we've been pushing for those. It went to the council meeting back in April. There was a response that the plan was the plan, and that was the plan. But we're going to have another crack in June. So Yemi's going to fight the good fight and go on and try it again. But we really need lots of support on that, or for any other suggested routes that you might have. So we could probably come back to that in the Q&A. So that's the update on parklets and cycle lanes. Back to Ed again on Navan Road Club.
Yeah, we've teamed up with Navan Road Club. I think there was meant to be a couple of lads here tonight. They're not here. They obviously went cycling, I'd say, in the good weather. But yeah, we just teamed up with Navan Road Club. I'm a member of Navan Road Club myself. I do a good bit of road cycling. And it's just a kind of membership offer. So we're a free one-off annual membership of Navan Road Club for any new members of Navan Cycling Initiative. So if you sign up for us, you get free entry or free membership for them for the year, and vice versa. If you sign up for Navan Road Club, you get free membership to Navan Cycling Initiative. There's a page on our website where you can see the details about it. But it's just about we're all cyclists, so it's just about supporting each other. And Navan Road Club are a big road club. They've lots of weekly spins, and they organise summer leagues and races. And they've a great underage thing called Sprocket Rockets for, I think, 5 to 10-year-olds or 5 to 12-year-olds maybe, to teach them to cycle, basically, and they do an colossian and me, for they learn all the skills for cycling. So it's really great for underage. So if anyone has any kids that they want to get into cycling, into racing cycling or cyclocross, it's good to check out Navan Road Club. So yeah, that's the partnership with them.
Fantastic. And now, Donal, if you want to give us an update maybe on, you've been doing loads of work on this with the Wild Rat Navan team.
Yeah, this is a bit kind of parallel universe stuff. It's certainly not directly related to cycling. Wild About Navan are a group who are very much into, I suppose, environmental issues in the Navan area. And they got in touch with us a few months back about the possibility of organizing a tour around various wildlife sites in the Navan area. And the idea was that to be a linked tour and you could follow it on a bike. Now, as we got into it, that really wasn't the way it evolved. So the way it's evolved is there are, I think it's something like 12 or 13 sites in the general area. There's no obvious single route that would link them all one with another. So the suggestion is that somebody would pick their own route, would pick maybe 3 or 4 sites and visit them on one trip. Now, we work together, and there's a software package called My Audio Tours or something. And we helped them on the software side, I suppose. They did all the heavy lifting in terms of producing audio recordings, producing text, producing pictures, and so on. So basically, this thing is more or less ready to go, and I think they'll be launching it in the next couple of weeks. The idea is that if you have a smartphone, you can click on a QR code or type in a web address, and you're into this tour. You need to have access to Wi-Fi, which is free now in Navan Town Centre, or have mobile data. It's actually not a bad little package. And it's something you could, as I say, you could cycle from point to point, certainly the more outlying ones, or a walking tour around the more central area. It helps, I suppose, get our name out there as well, because we stuck our logo on top of each site page, and I think we put a link to our website on each page as well. So, as an awareness tool, it gets our name out there. Plus, we're helping out with a local initiative.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. Definitely something to spice up a little bit of a walk. I think I've done pretty much every walk it's possible to do at this stage around Navan. So this is great. Okay, so then we go on to upcoming events. So Bike Week. Let's see. Donal, I think this is you.
Yeah, well, basically, the news is it was announced about 2 weeks ago that this year's Bike Week will be deferred again from June until September. But as I say, we're bulling ahead anyway within restrictions and having an event in June. Otherwise, the summer just slips away from us, So watch this space and we see what happens in September.
Yeah. And then, oops, the cycle bus.
Yeah, I think that might be me again. I'm actually very keen on this. It's something that's developed over the last 2 years. Basically, a cycle bus is a way of getting kids to school on their bikes with parents accompanying them, acting basically as human bollards. So it's definitely a parent or a guardian-led initiative. It's no use somebody like me saying, oh God, let's organize a cycle bus. It has to come from the parents. There are, you know, child safety issues and all kinds of other things involved. Basically, cycle buses have a specific route with stops along the way, and they follow a schedule every day, come rain or shine, and people, children, meet the bus at their designated stop. They join in and they're brought to school, and the same thing at the end of school time, they're cycled home basically in an escorted convoy. So they started off in Galway and Limerick and Dublin. Now you have them in Cork City, you have them in Skibbereen, you have them in Strandhill. They're growing all over the place. There are several in Dublin now. I see new ones in, is it Dublin 7 and Dublin 8? Next slide there. We aim to get a cycle bus going in Navan from September, and we'll help any parents who want to set it up. And this man here, whom we can't hear.
Can you hear that? Is that coming through?
We need to up our volume, maybe.
How's that now?
Yeah, up it, up it, up it, up it. People can lower their own volume.
Firstly, promote exercise and a healthy lifestyle. Children learn to cycle safely and gain the confidence to cycle on public roads. The cycle bus is quite visible, and therefore drivers are getting more used to cyclists cycling the time. My school participates because we are a health promoting school, and we always encourage our pupils to walk or cycle to school if possible. The cycle bus is giving confidence to all of those pupils to cycle. It's helping to reduce our carbon footprint. We are a green school, and we're very mindful of promoting sustainability and respect for our environment. It also creates positive links with the other schools in town involved in the cycle bus, and gives the children opportunities to meet and make friendships outside of their own school. The bus is marshaled by adult volunteers, and the bus cycles together from stop to stop, growing each time with more children joining. It is very.
Is the audio coming through, or is it darking out?
It's a bit distorted.
It's a bit muffled.
It's not great to hear, yeah.
Look, so I'm just conscious of time. Where what we'll do is we'll post links to all of this stuff afterwards, perhaps.
Well, basically, that was the headmaster of a primary school in Skibbereen, and he was extolling the benefits of the exercise. There's a link there on top of the slide, the Green Schools Ireland, and they have a tremendous resource for the organisation of cycle buses. So as I said, we would aim to get one off the ground in Navan in September when the schools go back. We will help any parents who want to set up a cycle bus.
It has to be led by the parents, Donald, doesn't it?
It has to be led by the parents, but we can facilitate it. And one thing that we were thinking of doing was putting out a very simple 1 or 2 button questionnaire with our next newsletter, asking people, do you have children in primary school in Navan? would you be prepared to help out with a cycle bus? And what school do your children go to? And then if there are a number of parents from a particular school, we will try to facilitate getting them together and see if they can form a little team.
Yeah.
I don't know what else we can do to facilitate it.
Yeah, I think we need just a lot of support. You know, this is one that can't just come from us. So that's where we really need everyone to engage.
So if anyone knows anyone who thinks they might be interested, just send them our way.
Yeah.
It
You
all
wouldn't
starts.
want to be a human bollard.
Yeah.
No, the human bollard doesn't do bad, actually. You just cycle at the back, you move well out into the center of the road, and the more the guy behind beeps, the slower you pedal.